Shalom, shalom. As always, I want to start these videos by giving all glory, honor, and thanks to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son for this wisdom and knowledge. That is Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Havrakakwadash, as well as the salutations upon to the elders and apostles of GMS, Great Millstone, whom I've learned this truth under and have been laboring, helping younger brothers such as myself understand this 144% doctrine of the Bible. This just a testimony through the Spirit, titled "Esau is Scared." Okay, so I'm out here in Richmond, Virginia, and I just had a couple Uber rides. Okay, and on the Uber ride on the way back from my destination, it was this Edomite, this so-called white guy, picked me up, and you know, using discernment, I can tell off top if it's gonna be one of those Uber rides where I'll have to, you know, engage in conversation. So I'm just, you know, playing dumb but being cordial. You know, you're supposed to be at peace with all men, and you know, all of a sudden, you know, and I just did a couple of YouTube shorts yesterday on what's going on in Los Angeles. That topic popped up on you know, the persecution of the Northern Kingdom, so-called Hispanics, and in particular the tribe of Issachar, so-called Mexicans, and what's going on in LA. And Esau, all of a sudden through the Spirit, revealed how scared he is. So I got some notes that I wrote down in this conversation, and Esau can feel it through the Spirit that, you know, the Lord's pulling up on him. The King of Terrors, Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, is pulling up, and he can feel it through the Spirit. This man is terrified on the future of his kingdom. So he mentioned he was scared. He's talking about every country in the world hates us being the United States, and you know, I'm a captive here. That's his country that he done built off bloodshed and wickedness, okay, and he got to pay the price for that. And then I asked him, where do you see the country in 2030? And he talked about, like, I don't know, was speaking, he could see a lot of violence and uprisings before then, okay. And then the man is divorced, and he's talking about how lonely it is, you know, being by himself. That's probably why he was prone to conversation. You know, the guy's lonely out here in Virginia, and he's got 4 daughters, and he's talking about how his plans in the summer where we're visiting them throughout the country and visiting family, okay. And then he was shitting on Trump, talking about how he can't believe we reelected a criminal, and that this guy, you know, encouraged insurrection. And then he also spoke on that he used to be super religious, so-called evangelical Christian. And then as well as those Maximes, that juicy juice, that jump shot way back in 2020, that OVID 91, talking in code, okay, how that was mandatory, and he was sticking up for him, talking about how those jump shots work. This man's a fool, but this is all spiritual. This is all in the scriptures. And then lastly, you know, on the war in Ukraine and how Trump's a hypocrite, talking about he was going to end the war. And then now he's speaking on, you know, Vladimir Putin's not backing down. He's not standing down. Well, little does he know that Russia, you know, Gog and Magog, is going to be one of the key components to wipe his little kingdom of wickedness off the face of the earth. So let's just get to it. This isn't going to be in order, but I got scriptures to back up this conversation, and this was Yapa, the Wadi Yahweh Yahweh Shai, call Halayim Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Esau scared. Okay, this is a faith booster to see, you know, the fall of our enemy. All right, and this man is scared through the Spirit. Isaiah 48 verse 22. There is no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked. Isaiah 57 verse 21. There is no peace, saith my power, to the wicked. All right, and you Edomites, the Edom, okay, you so-called self-proclaimed WHITEs are the wicked that the Bible speaks of, and there is a severe price for all the lies, bloodshed that you didn't committed across the whole earth, and we're seeing that fruit being brought to light in these latter times. Deuteronomy 32 verse 29. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. Okay, so Esau didn't consider, you know, running up his score of wickedness and oppressing and all these nations, in particular the children of Israel, and then hiding that information, he didn't consider his latter end. And now look, it's all bad. He's looking, and this is the beauty of it, as us knowing this truth. He's looking, there's a picture of it. It got an Edomite on one side of the train, and he's looking out the window, and he sees nothing but darkness ahead of him. And then you got a Jake, looked like a Southern Kingdom Jake, potentially a Judite, so-called black guy, looking out of the window, and he sees nothing but peace and happiness ahead. Okay, that's the paths that are coming. We gonna get that in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. But Esau can feel it through the spirit. It's all bad. Nothing but bad is coming to him. Habakkuk 2 verse 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Okay, so Esau can't walk around is prideful as he used to be, even though, you know, Trump got a lot of these devils turned up. But you see this man's statues, typically one of these devils in the past, sitting on a high horse, and the scriptures speak on that, on seeing servants upon a high horse and princes walking on the earth. Those statues are being taken down more and more, as well as, you know, they try to hide the history of all this man's bloodshed. That's shameful spewing on what used to be his glory. Okay, there's also a scripture that matches up with that about his children shall cry of an ungodly father. All his what used to be his glory is now turning into his shame, because and in that same chapter, Habakkuk 2, he done built his nation, his kingdom off bloodshed. All right, and nothing but woe and destruction is coming to them that establish a city or a town by way of blood. And he can once again feel it through the spirit. It's over for his ass. It's over. All right, he's the minority in most of these major cities in the U.S. He can feel it. It's over. And that's why this devil from the top down is about to come down with great wrath, because he knows in his heart and his mind and his spirit that he's got a short time. Paraphrasing 2nd Ezra 6 verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, and going back to that picture I described of, you got Esau on one side, Jacob on the other, both looking out of the windows, and Esau sees nothing but darkness. Well, he had his time to live it up, and that time is ending. We had our time of getting our ass kicked, which felt like forever, but as the scriptures say, better is the end of the thing than a beginning. All right, this is Yapa. This is beautiful. Continuing, let's get Isaiah, one of my favorite scriptures, Isaiah 47, but in the NLT. I'll start at verse 1 and then skip down to verse 5 through 7. Come down, virgin daughter of Babylon, and sit in the dust. For your days of sitting on a throne have ended, O daughter of Babylonia. Never again will you be the lovely princess, tender and delicate. All right, and daughter of Babylon is referring to America. Babylon the Great America. Your days of sitting at the top, you know, being the richest country, the wealthiest country, having all the best of everything, and your influence being strong through your witchcraft and Hollywood and all your food. Everything is now, it's falling. And these other nations, going back to this list, they can't stand your guts. He said every country in the world hates us. You even had Canadians, one of the friends of Babylon the Great, booing our national anthem. All right, the whole world is turning, and it speaks on that in the book of Obadiah. As well, I believe in Jeremiah, about the Lord is making this man small amongst the heathen and despised amongst men, chiefly starting here in Babylon the Great America. Continuing at verse 5, and Lord willing, I'm not, you know, a little turned up through the spirit, but trying to get the point across. Lord willing, this be edifying, and I'm not talking too fast. Isaiah 47 verse 5, continuing in the NLT. O beautiful Babylon, sit now in darkness and silence. Never again will you be known as the queen of kingdoms. For I was angry with my chosen people and punished them by letting them fall in your hands. Talking about so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, who you beat the hell out of for centuries and got rich off. But you, Babylon, showed them no mercy. You oppressed even the elderly. You said, I reign forever as queen of the world. You did not reflect on your actions. or think about their consequences. And that goes back to Deuteronomy 32:29. This man didn't consider his latter end. As well as in the 6th verse, you even oppress the elderly. It speaks on that in Deuteronomy 28. This man, a nation of fierce countenance that wouldn't show favor to old or young. This man don't give a damn who you is, especially for our people. He oppressed the elderly, beat the hell out of the youth and the elderly. This man don't care. Well, all that, what you reap is what you sow. All right. And let's speak on these nations hating you, because it's all stirring up on the same time. This is beautiful where you got sin. I got to get to that later, but let's just say it right now before I forget. He has one of his daughters is a journalist in DC, and I told him to watch that Civil War 24 movie, because basically that's what the plot of the movie. It's a couple journalists, female journalists, and the country America is in complete state of chaos in civil war. And I believe they make a trip from maybe Northwest Virginia down to the nation's capital in DC. And I watched the movie the first day it came out last year, and I told him to watch that because apparently his daughter is a journalist in DC. And why I mentioned that is because at the same time you're gonna have civil war, chaos, and anarchy here, as the holy book says here in Babylon the Great America. You're also going to be having World War III in complete bloom as well. So let's get Joel, the 3rd chapter, speaking on this third woe that's rapidly approaching. Joel 3, and we'll start at verse 5 through 7 and then skip down to verse 9 through 13. It's once again going back to how he oppressed the Israelites, and now this is the judgment for that. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians. And that didn't the so-called Africans, you Hamites, sell the Israelites, in particular the southern kingdom, into the hands of the Grecians, the so-called WHITEs, the Grecians, the Romans, you Edomites. You sold us into their hands, pursuing Deuteronomy 28 verse 68, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense on your own head. So once again, and matching up with Psalms 83 and Lamentations, the 2nd chapter, all you nations played a part in our downfall in several of our captivities. Well, this is the final in captivity, and there's going to be many payments. First, this third woe, ending Esau, Edom's kingdom, and you heathen nations reigning, and then y'all going to pay again in the kingdom to come. Joel 3 verse 9, continuing. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And pause. All right, and just a quick disclaimer, what I'm about to refer to in regards to Iran and Israel dragging America into the third woe is specifically spoken on in Jeremiah 49:20 and Jeremiah the 49th and 50th chapters. All right, about how the least of the flock shall draw them out. So Israel being having these wars with all these countries right near them, in particular Iran, is going to draw America into this third woe. But we can also relate that, let the weak say I am strong, because in Ezekiel 38, we know that Gog and Magog, Russia, is going to be a guard unto these smaller nations, okay, and protect them military-wise, and stand up against Babylon the Great America. All right, just want to clear that up. That relates to, Israel and Iran. Israel is going to draw, Babylon the Great America into this third woe. Israel surrounded by nothing but enemies, all right? And they going to end up dragging America into this woe. You got China, you got Russia, you got Iran, you got a lot of major players, Turkey and North Korea, a lot of players in this third woe. And we've seen it heat up. And where these nations turning into wartime economies, they getting ready for war. and they're not as scared of America as they used to be. Because once again, going back to Isaiah 47 at the top, this place ain't the mighty big bad bully anymore. It's not sitting at the top. These nations aren't as fearful of America. You know, these nations are seeing Esau flinch, and they're seeing this man scared. Going back to the spirit of this video, Esau is clearly scared of the judgment to come. Beat your plowshares, verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. In that valley of Jehoshaphat, Yehoshaphat, the valley of the Lord's judgment. This is where this third woe in Western Asia, or as Esau refers to as the Middle East, that's where this third woe is going to take place. And all these nations are going to obliterate each other, but in particular, America and the land of Israel, except America will never be rebuilt back up. But as we got World War III popping off as well, going back to one of these notes, we going to have violent uprisings all throughout the U.S. And we seeing this in L.A. right now. L.A. is a very historically volatile in city, as I believe it's Jeremiah, let me get that, 50 verse 33. I don't want to misspeak. Speaking on the children of Judah and the children of Israel were oppressed together. And LA is one of those symbolic cities where you got Southern Kingdom, in particular Judah, oppressed the hell out up there. Yep. And then you got Issachar too, so-called Mexicans oppressed. And we seeing the Northern Kingdom, you know, all these ICE, they trying to kick them out of their own land. That's this devil, going back to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. He's trying to kick Issachar out of his own land. And we know that hatred that he's displaying with the Northern Kingdom, so-called Hispanics and Native Americans, we already know he gonna aim that to the Southern Kingdom, so-called blacks. All right, he's oppressing Northern and Southern Kingdom, and we're about to see violent uprisings. This is Jacob's trouble brewing right before our eyes. So going back to this is going to be, yes, Second Ezra, speaking on these days that we're witnessing, Lord willing, sooner than later. You know, we want to get the hell out of this hell. Second Ezra 15. Let's start at 14, and we'll end it at 19. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the houses, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Going back to Esau's ass, his ass is afraid, and it ain't even popped off yet. This is the beginning of sorrows. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And you see that spirit in those Purge movies, neighbor against neighbor. It also shows that in that old school TV show, The Twilight Zone. One neighbor had a bunker filled with food, and they all basically ate each other alive. And let's hit this again. This was out of order. Lord willing, this is edifying. Speaking on these Maxine's, these jump shots he tried to enforce, and he was one of these goofy devils walking around with the damn shield over his breathing. You know, you supposed to be breathing actual oxygen. You see these clowns walking around covering their own face, sitting with this shield over their nose and mouth in the damn car by themselves. This is the madness that this man pushes out, and these zombies actually believe this man. Job 13 verse 4. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. And I was watching the brother spirit when Levi earlier, and he was talking about how they put that H to the I to the that next letter that you don't want to get in a lot of those jump shots. This man is the devil, and he done deceived a lot of people. And that also links up John 8:44, that this man's a liar. Okay, he's the father of it, as well as Psalms the 55th chapter on though his words are smooth as butter. Basically, that war is in this man's heart, and that's a real demonic thing to push out a so-called cure, but really that's the death is in the cure. Okay, this is how this devil moves, but we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. Okay, and let's close off on the final couple scriptures speaking on this man being. So you said he used to be super religious at the time. Actually, yeah, Psalms 50. He said he used to be an evangelical Christian, okay? But the Holy Bible wasn't meant for these heathen nations, especially you Edomites. And the Lord speaks that right here. Once again, unto you wicked, you are the wicked, the devils that the Bible speaks of. Psalms 50 verse 16. But unto the wicked, Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? So the Lord's questioning you Edomites. What the hell you done did to declare the Lord's heavenly laws, statutes, and commandments? And who the hell are you? Y'all not the true children of Israel, okay? And that's being exposed. This man, he's losing his faith, but it was never for him. But our faith is getting stronger and stronger. And once again, the last thing, this man is divorced and lonely and gotta, work from home as well as work 2 jobs. He gotta drive Uber and work from home. These curses are being thrown on our enemies, and this is beautiful to see. And he don't even got a son to pass down his inheritance. It's all gonna go to his daughters. Deuteronomy 30 verse 7. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. All right, and let's close off on this, Esau, because you going for sure drink that cup, and it's not going to taste good. You going to have to drink that double fold. All the let me see that, talking about drinking the cup. Jeremiah 49:12. For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. And that cup is talking about slavery, is oppression, those curses, a low state and quality of life, a state of hell. We done drank that cup as the children of Israel, all 12 tribes. So y'all, you for sure, you going to drink the biggest portion. And once you done drinking that, you are going to be eliminated from the earth, because a kingdom of righteousness doesn't need you Edomites. And that's what Esau can feel through his spirit. Close off on this. Lamentations 4:21 and 22 in the NLT. Are you rejoicing in the land of Uz, O people of Edom? But you too must drink from the cup of the Lord's anger. You too will be stripped naked in your own drunkenness. O beautiful Jerusalem, your punishment will end. You will soon return from exile. But Edom, your punishment is just beginning. Soon your many sins will be exposed. And we are in that time right now, which is Yappa, and it's beautiful to see. Lord, I know I was a little turned up, just trying to get point to point and to the point on this video. Lord willing, it was concise and edifying, but this is beautiful to see the fall of our enemy, and that this man is scared. He can feel the spirit and power of judgment, which is really Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. He's laying that right hand down. He's starting to throw jabs at the wicked, and it's just the beginning. You got plenty more to drink. All right, we done had our turn. Now it's your turn, Esau. Don't be scared now. You didn't consider your latter end, but it's all good. This is Yappa. Lord willing, we can make it to the end of this man and witness the end of and see his destruction and the beginning of our beautiful kingdom of righteousness to come, starting with the return of Yahweh Shai. I hope that this was edifying. Shalom.